Have you ever wondered, what do our bodies need for growing, repairing themselves, or even moving? Well, even though there are many factors involved, today we'll talk about proteins. Proteins are biomolecules formed by amino acids. But what does this mean? Well, think of a protein as a necklace, and each bit would be an amino acid. So this protein would have 40 amino acids. But there are many different types of proteins with different amounts and types of amino acids. But let's go back with the proteins themselves. The synthesis of proteins takes place in our cells, and it has two big steps, the transcription and the translation. The first step is the transcription, and it happens in the nucleus. Here's where we find the DNA, which is like a huge book that contains all the information for making proteins. However, if we want to make a protein, we don't need the whole content of the book, but instead we only need certain instructions for making the protein we want. Therefore, an enzyme will come and copy only what's needed. The chapter of the book where the enzyme got the information from for the creation of a specific protein is called a gene, and the resulting copy is called the messenger RNA. Now that we have finished the transcription, the messenger RNA, in other words, the message with the copy of the instructions for making a certain protein, leaves the nucleus and heads out to the ribosomes, aka the protein factories. This is where the second step happens, the translation. Like any factory, the ribosome has a ceiling and a floor, and the messenger RNA places itself between these two. As you can see, there's a little man approaching. It represents the transference RNA, which is like the worker of the factory, and it is in charge of bringing the materials indicated in the instructions necessary for making a protein. Those materials, yes, you guessed correctly, are the amino acids. But going back with the workers, they work in teams. So the first one to arrive enters the ribosome and waits with its amino acid for the second one to show up. When it does, both of their amino acids bond, and the first worker to have arrived goes away, leaving its amino acid behind. When another worker appears, the process repeats itself, and so on. What happens next? Well, when there's no more information in the messenger RNA to be translated into amino acids, the last worker left lets go the chain of amino acids that it's holding. When that happens, the whole factory disassembles. It's as if this factory had closed for vacations until a new message with instructions arrives from the nucleus. Guess what? We have finished the translation. Now let's take a look to this newly formed chain of amino acids. It looks like a necklace, right? Well, remember, it means it's a protein. But before a protein is ready to perform whatever work it has to do, like helping us to grow, helping us to move, it must undergo some modifications. But that's for another video. Bye! Before you go, here's a little summary.